And welcome to the Chasing the Cute podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and I'm Trisha.
Hey, how you doing? That's another episode.
Yep. Part two of
Yes, Nicholas Sparks part
Yep.
2. Yeah, we're here for it.
Whoop, whoop.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
Buckle up. But before we jump into that, I have an icebreaker question for us.
Ooh.
You ready?
It.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the worst date idea that movies make look romantic?
Ooh.
I feel like there's a few that are like, I don't know if it'd be like worst, but you know.
I'm trying to think of like a specific one from something we've watched, but like, I don't know. Do you have one in mind?
No.
Me neither. I'm just trying to think of one that I would hate, which would be like bowling.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the worst, though.
But romantic is not.
No, it's not really romantic. No. Sometimes, like, I think of ice skating or roller skating. Because, like, the idea of it is cute.
Sure.
You see it in a movie, they're holding hands, they're smiling, they're spinning around and, like, hugging and this and that. Don't hold my hand. Like, I'm fine to skate.
Down.
Like, I'm not, like... We're not holding hands because if you miss a beat
or you do, like you're both going
we're
down.
both going down, and I'm not doing that.
We're too old for that.
Like, it's if
we wouldn't recover from the injury as fast.
If we were both like avid skaters or confident skaters, maybe.
Yeah. That would make sense,
but no. Like, if you're I have ice skated before in my life kind of person,
right,
and it's not a regular occurrence, we shan't be holding hands.
Yeah. I also think, like, maybe, like, the canoeing or kayaking thing.
True.
Like, because it's like, okay.
When we got... I knew you were going to say this. But it's true. It's true.
It's true because it's actually, like, hard work.
Yeah. And if you're not doing it the right way, it can be even harder.
Yeah, like Trisha doesn't know how to row.
That's not true. You can't just say I don't know how to row, like in general.
Okay, then you don't row well then.
I haven't rowed well in the past. It's not like I don't row well. I'm a fine rower.
The time we went, you did not row well.
Shut up.
You did not row well, so that's all I have to go on.
It was a few times that you're rowing the wrong way. A few times we were out there for hours, and we've gone multiple times. Whatever. I'm not the best rower. That is true. But
yeah, so then one person is left to do all the rowing, and it's like not quite as glamorous as you would think.
Like you're sitting like unless you're in a canoe facing each other or a small boat, like. And you're still, like, kind of far apart. It's not, like, romantic. Like, it's an activity you do with your friend to, like, do something fun. Or, like...
Yeah.
It could be romantic. I don't know. It's just... You're sitting... Like, in a kayak, you're, like... Sitting one in front of the other. So...
Yeah. So that's my answer, then.
True. And, honestly, sometimes we're romanticizing dinner dates.
Yeah.
In general. Not just movies. But, like... You can pick a far more romantic thing to do than just go to dinner.
True.
But anyways.
I like it.
Interesting. Let's just jump right into some more Nicholas Sparks.
Our first movie that we're talking about is Safe Haven. With Josh Duhamel and Julianne Hough. Mm-hmm. You want to give us a summary?
Sure. Shoy. As my niece says. Shoy. Shoy. Okay. Safe Haven follows a woman with a mysterious past who seeks refuge in a small coastal town where she falls in love with a widowed father while trying to escape the secrets that haunt her. Just as she begins to build a new life, her abusive ex-husband tracks her down, forcing her to confront her past. With the help of her new love, she finds the strength to fight for her freedom and happiness. So we have Alex and Katie.
Yes.
/ Aaron.
Right.
Let's like walk through a little bit of that opening scene because I feel like that sets us up to really get to know who Katie is.
Yeah.
or like her circumstance.
Yeah, she basically, I don't even know if it's at that point when they show us.
Not the full moment, just
Yeah,
really
just like her on the
her
run.
leaving the house, changing her appearance.
Yeah, changing her appearance. She's on the run because she's scared for her life, essentially.
She is.
So she's just trying to get away from this person, and she's at the bus station, gets on a bus to Atlanta. Meanwhile, the man who we learn is her husband, is coming after her, and he's a police officer, so he has, resources. Yeah, he's a dirty cop for sure, but
alcoholic.
He has all these resources to look for her. But ultimately, she does get on a bus without him knowing where she's going at first.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So she's on this bus. The bus stops in this little small town. There's like a gas station and a small little convenience store. So people are kind of hopping off, getting some snacks or whatever. Yeah. And she is there like incognito, hood up, like trying to like keep to herself, gets her snack or whatever. And she's just kind of standing outside and taking in the view, which is just a gorgeous coastal town, like looking at the water and all that. And she's kind of liking the idea of maybe just staying here. So she gets a job, she finds a place to live, and she starts living a very quiet, humble life in this little town.
Yep, very modest.
Very modest. And yeah, it's kind of at that point where she's running into Alex, the store owner, more frequently because it's literally like the store in the town. It's like the general store.
Right.
She can order paint there. She can get food there. She's also walking in and out of town to do laundry and other things. So he's spying her. She's seeing him, interacting with his daughter specifically, kind of really, I don't know, forming a little connection with her. Just like an informal.
She like runs the store basically.
Yes, little
she's
Lexi.
Really the boss.
She's so cute.
She was so adorable.
But yeah, I think their meet cute in the store the very first time really wasn't much of anything. Like literally head was down, bought her snack, and he kind of was more like probably thinking like, what is your
this
problem?
girl?
Like,
Yeah.
But then we see her come back into town, and he was even like, I thought you left, because this is clearly a frequent stop that buses make. So he's surprised just, to see her
get off the bus just to get back on.
Right. He's surprised that she's still there.
Yeah.
And he basically says like, oh, are you sticking around? And she's just kind of like, we'll see what happens there. And yeah, I think like very few things happen between them in the very beginning. She's ordering paint, and
he helps her do that or order the paint,
which was like because
they don't really do that.
They don't order paint. He's like, now we do.
Now we do, I guess. So he helps her order the paint, and he also, because she's wanting to paint her floors in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So he like gives her a ride home once the paint comes in, because she was going to walk with these gallons of paint, which obviously nobody wants to do that. But
especially these, they didn't have the little guard. It was just like the straight up metal handle.
She of course was like, no, like I'm fine. I don't need you to give me a ride. But she turns around quickly and is like, SOS. Anyway, SOS. He drives her to her little humble abode. And it's funny because he starts to like tell her how to do the floors properly, like, you need to sand it, prime it, this and that. But he also like didn't want to insult her as if she didn't know how to do it, maybe just because she's a woman or whatever. But he's like, yep, nope, you know how to do it, you're good.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of sweet.
Yeah, I thought so too. Just sorry, I'm readjusting myself. This notebook,
I know,
the more and more pages we use,
the
more like it's sliding around.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought him just even like giving her the ride and going there, it's like he clearly, at this point, we know he's a single dad. There's no wife in the picture.
Yeah.
And he kind of just keeps to himself. Like, he's
Right.
friendly with the people in town, but there's not really any other, like, young women that we've seen, at least in his sphere.
Right.
And so the fact that he's, like, willing to help her, and, like, I think it's a nice gesture because he's a nice guy, but also it's like he's leaving his store to go, like, with her somewhere. Like, I think that's just his way of, like, he's intrigued by her. He's interested. He wants to be around her.
Right. Right.
And he also sees her living condition and sees her walking all the time. And so this one particular night, he drops off a bike at her house. And it really freaks her out. Number one, because
she's just, like, paranoid in general because and there's a couple times we see, like, police around the town, and she is just, like, on alert.
Guys, Shoop is in this movie too.
Oh yeah, Shoop is in. So we've learned he's in so many things.
Yeah, he's in Dear John too.
Every single Nicholas Sparks movie we've watched, I think, or close to it.
I think so, legitimately. He's not in A Walk to Remember, but
yeah. But anyway, so she's, like, super freaked out because he brings it in the middle of the night and, like, just drops it outside and, like, leans it against a tree. So she is freaked out. She doesn't know who's outside or whatever.
And she also lives in the actual, like, woods. I'd probably be freaked out too.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, nobody should be out here at this time of night.
Yeah, I would be scared.
Outside my home, I would be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she obviously in the morning sees the bike there, and she kind of, like, overreacts to the bike situation, like him bringing the bike.
Yeah.
She walks it into town because she wants to be petty. She doesn't ride it into town. She walks it back into town, and she's like, "Did you leave this at my house?" And I don't know. She's really, like, annoyed by it, and she's like, "I don't need this. I don't need your help. I don't." Whatever.
Yeah, and he's like, usually when someone does something nice, you just
say thank you. Yeah.
Like, he's like, it's just a bike. I don't need it. Like, you need transportation, have the bike. And she's very adamant and leaves the bike for at least a day or so.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just her being, like, Miss Independent, or if she was really just rattled, like, by him stopping by and just let those emotions cloud her judgment of like the reality of needing transportation. Just accept the favor.
Well, and I guess in a lot of these movies too, it's like the people, she's from Boston or whatever is where they're from, people from the north coming to the south, and they're like don't quite understand the southern hospitality thing.
Right. That's a very good point. Very good point.
So
not to mention, like, she has no relationship. Like, she's, like you said, paranoid, but, like, you can tell whatever her life is like in Boston, it's like her and her husband and the trauma they have together. That's it. Like, she's not even really interacting with friends. Like, we don't see anything like that. So I think she's also just kind of very standoffish towards anyone being friendly to her. Like, she's constantly second guessing people's intentions.
Yeah. Well, and, like,
sorry to cut you off.
I don't want to get, like, too deep here, but people in those types of relationships, like abusive relationships, don't have outside people, like, to talk to, because the abuser
they isolate
shuts them out from everyone else.
Definitely.
But anyway, what else were you saying?
No, I had cut you off.
You did?
But I really think the next scene that's like worth mentioning is when that day when another crew of people come off the bus. She happened to be in the store that day, and part of that crew was some police officers. She's, of course, just, like, paranoid. And during all this commotion of people being there, Alex's son falls off the dock into the water and is, like, basically drowning. And so she runs out there. He runs out there, jumps in the water. She's comforting the little girl. And the situation ends, and he just, like, thanks her, I think. Or how did, remember, 'cause he said, like, something to her, and she was like, you could just say thank you, or something like that. Was that situation?
Yeah, I think it was.
And then as she's walking away, he's like, I think you forgot something. nodding towards the bike.
The bike.
And sure enough, she's like, okay, fine, I'll take it.
I'll take the bike.
So now she has the
I
bike.
could use it.
Yeah.
The next thing I had was the family beach day.
Me too.
Because that was so super cute.
That
little
whole
Lexi
thing.
is just a precious little angel. She just like immediately clings to Katie. Like she
needs a mommy.
She wants that relationship, and it's just so precious. But she was like adamant that Katie go to the beach with all of them, and I think Alex was kind of like, oh no, like you don't have to come. Like
she doesn't want to go. We're
yeah,
just yeah.
Like, but she's like, no, I would love to go. So they do, and it's super sweet. They just have like a great day at the beach.
It's like a chill family day at the beach.
Little
They're
family
playing in the water. They're writing in the sand. Alex and Katie are having great conversation.
Yeah.
They're laying together in the sand at one point, or sitting actually at this point, and their hands are kind of behind themselves, like holding them up, and their hands are like so close to touching that it's like, ooh, you can tell like they may like want to hold hands, or I don't know. You can just see the connection between them starting to become a little more than friendly.
Yeah, and they're kind of just like learning about each other, and
and he's even asking or venting to her like, I don't know what to do about Josh, like his son, like I'm just struggling.
He's like kind of acting out,
right? Because the son definitely had a relationship and a memory of the mom who
he's
passed,
old enough to remember.
But the daughter is so little, she doesn't really remember at all. And so the kid is just struggling with, I think, getting older and not having a mom. But then like you see another woman in the picture, and he's just kind of like, what's going on? Does he even like her at this point? His attention is, from with his dad is dwindling or going to be less, and so it's just sad. That kids have to navigate that, but for the most part, it's just like the best day ever. They're just eating hot dogs and ice cream and
having
good
a
beach
great
day.
time. The beach day obviously comes to an end, and I keep wanting to call him Josh.
I know
his name's not Josh. His name is Josh, but
Josh
not
Duhamel
in
is
the
in
movie.
his peak in this movie, in my opinion.
I
mean, he just like, he looks so freaking good. You need to watch Las Vegas.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying, like, I know we've talked about it before that you haven't seen it, and I'm just like going over my mind, like, you need to watch it. Like, he's head of security at a Las Vegas casino and hotel. Like, it's just lots of good, of good stuff. Sorry.
Anyway,
but yes, Josh.
Alex takes Katie home, and the kids are in the back seat sleeping, and she asks him if he wants to come in to see the floors because they're all done. So he does. He goes in to see them, and tells her how good a job she did, which I thought was cute because she was like thanking him for the tip about priming the floor and whatever, because she wouldn't have known how to do that or to do that. Wait, wasn't that the moment
when the floors broke?
When they,
like, because one of them fell in and they were like laughing about it.
Oh, I don't know.
I forget.
No, it's not, because she asks him again if he wants to see the floor.
Yeah, I just thought that was the moment where she, like, after.
No, because when he falls through and then they hook up.
Yeah.
That's then.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Anyway, what's next? The unromantic canoeing.
Yeah, the date. He asks her to go on a little date with him, and she says yes, and he takes her to this cute little spot. They go canoeing, talk about life. It's starting to storm. Of course. So, these southern little beach towns. The southern.
We just had some.
We did. We need more, honestly. Yeah. But they end up going into this little dinner spot because the truck wouldn't start or something. Something happened with their car. that they were going to have to wait on a ride.
Yeah.
And so they go into this little restaurant and they eat. They're like legitimately the only people in this little cafe thing.
Little diner situation. Yeah. It's like a diner /
convenience store / bait shop.
Who knows?
You can buy
all the
hats
things
and everything. So he was like, all right, let me look and see if anyone's here. Probably just like cash out, leave, whatever. And they end up finding nobody, and there's some music playing. So she's like, this song is nice. And he just turns it up and like puts his hand out, asks her to dance. And so they just dance, and they're laughing.
It's cute.
And just having like the cute little moment. I don't know. I think that those are the little moments that you're like, that's what makes the date good.
Right.
It's not this over the top bachelor style date where everything is so
like
curated,
fancy dinner and
yes, and fancy. It's like, no, like, be an opportunist.
Yeah.
You hear music, you hear her comment on it, ask her to dance in the middle of a bait shop. Who cares?
Exactly.
And then they see like lights from a cop car pull up, and she just freezes.
Yeah.
Because again, she's assuming at any moment the cops are after her.
Well, because the ex is actively looking for her.
Right. And she doesn't really know how he's going to go about finding her, but she really just has this feeling like,
and he's a detective.
Gonna turn up
like he's not just like a traffic cop.
He ain't
like
a
he's
beat cop.
He's a full detective. So.
Yeah. But it ends up just being his friend who happens to be like, I don't know, the police chief or someone else.
Yeah.
And they're just laughing and joking about it, and she's just kind of still like she just immediately like disassociates.
Yeah.
And has to come down from that. The cop drops her off at her house, and of course Alex gets out to walk her to the door and was just like doing the whole like, great night. He pulls her over behind the tree behind the car so that the cop can't see him.
Yeah.
Or see them. And he just kisses her, and this has got to be like one of the top like first date kisses or first kisses between a couple. Like, to me, it's like up there with the nobody wants this kiss.
Yeah, it was very good.
Like, it was the kiss, and then he like picks her up and puts her against the tree and like kiss some more, and that's it. Like, they eventually stop, and he's just like,
I also just love that he took her behind the tree.
Me too.
So that the cop, like, it was like they still had their privacy.
Exactly.
That was very cute. But this is 100%. When she asks him, do you want to come see the floors? I literally wrote that. Do you want to come see the floor?
What did the cop do? He just left? He just said, like, go ahead and go on home? Yeah. Ugh.
And then his foot falls through the floor. And then they have sex.
I don't know how I didn't write. No, that was after. After. Okay, so he goes back home with the cop. The cop brings him home, and that's when he goes up to the mom's place, and the son sees him. And he's like, that's Mom's place. And he's like, I know it is. And he was looking at all the letters. And then it's like the next day, and he like stops by the restaurant and like gives her a little kiss just to say hi. And then they go on another date. And that's then when she says, do you want to see my floor? Remember, she's eating oysters.
Clearly, I don't remember.
Sorry about that. But yeah, that is what I have written down in that order. I said date, arrow, want to see my floor, arrow, intimate. But I forget what the other date was. But was that her eating oysters, or is that a different movie? Remember, we were like, oh, we would not want anyone to see us like eating.
No,
oyster.
That was this movie.
So I think that was the date.
Sure.
Like, they just had dinner, like round 2, like whatever. Yeah, and then he definitely like spends the night. Because it was right after their great date that he like happens to go into the police department.
Mm-hmm. With the flyer.
And he sees the flyer.
Yeah. Yeah, the ex makes
and the
these
initial
flyers.
conflict ensues.
The ex makes these flyers, and I don't know how they ended up in the hands of
it
the
came
local
through a fax.
police.
Like, it was just like a little, like, what do you call that? Like, bolo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
that's how connected he is.
Yeah. But anyway, the ex makes these flyers that say that she's wanted for murder in the first degree, which is like insane.
Right.
At some point in the movie, we saw that she stabbed him.
Right.
And he obviously didn't die. So like she did not murder him. She's not a murderer, but
right.
Yeah,
and he's clearly like very abusive. He's an alcoholic. Has extreme anger.
Yeah.
And in the flashback clips we keep seeing, like, he just keeps saying, like, what was that phrase he keeps saying? Like, why do you do this to me? Or something like that. Like, because he said it again when he comes back in at the end of the movie. But
yeah.
Insane.
Totally.
Unwell.
Totally.
Always sweating.
Yeah,
disgusting.
His eyes are always red. Like he has a drinking problem.
Right.
But anyway, so Alex sees these flyers and is like obviously freaked out because it's literally this person that he's been having all these moments with, like these dates,
falling
like
in
he's falling in love with,
yeah.
like he's freaked out and
he doesn't know the truth. So
right.
Of course, like, you want to give her the benefit of the doubt, but you're like, but well, it's murder.
Yeah, it's first degree murder.
And he has noticed that. I think she's been a little, like, there are moments, like, it's almost like a little finicky dog, like a little, you know.
Like a little skittish.
Yeah, definitely a little skittish. That's the exact word I was trying to look for.
We know, obviously, that she's not a murderer, but, like, when he confronts her about it, she, like, because also her real name is Erin, not Katie.
Right.
So she's honest with him about that and that alone. About the name. She was like, or he said, are you Erin, or is your name Erin? And she's like, yeah, but like she couldn't get out the rest about like her not being a murderer.
The only thing she said was, because they were kind of like talking over each other,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the only other thing she said was, he hurt me.
Yeah.
But I don't even think Alex heard that because he was so worked up. Justifiably.
Right, yeah.
But at the same time, like, if you're going to go there to question her about it, you got to hear her out.
Right. And then and she also needed to, like, speak up in that moment. Like, she wasn't assertive enough in, like, getting her piece out.
Right, which we clearly know is because you're used to being yelled at and demeaned and all that. Plus, I think what's running through her mind now is, oh crap, I gotta go.
Yeah, because like he knows I'm here.
Right.
Yeah.
And if someone were to see that, like, I mean, he did say, like, you better get out of here before so and so like sees this flyer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what she does. She goes home and starts packing up all her stuff.
Yeah.
And her friend Jo, that she keeps seeing and meeting, this girl, and talking with, and you know, she's telling her, like, don't go. And, like, you have great support system here. You have people that love you here. Mm-hmm. She's like, I gotta go. Like, she gets agitated with her. Like, well, you need to go. Like, you're the one that's just stuck here and this and that. And she's like, we're not all so lucky. Because she's a ghost and she can't go anywhere. But
I literally asked Trisha when we were watching this, I was like, wait, what is Joe's, like, story? I don't remember, like, what Joe's deal is.
I'm really surprised you didn't, like, you had forgotten that.
And then she was like, I'll let you find out. And I'm like, okay. So a little time goes on before I look over and I was like, oh, she ain't real.
That ain't real.
Anyway, so Alex quickly comes to his senses. Like,
yeah, it doesn't take
him very long at all. But he finds Katie / Erin as she's like about to board, or she's like at the ferry or whatever. She's like about to board there, and he tells her to stay and like assures her that he'll not let her ex hurt her again.
Mm-hmm.
That I just loved that whole interaction. He was like,
Yeah.
I am in love with you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you stay, there's no safer place for you to be than with me. And he just like kept saying that he loves her, and I just was like, oh my gosh.
It was like, I mean, no words.
I mean, yeah, it was so good. And I just love that he was just so like reassuring and telling her like, I'm the protector here, like,
Yeah.
let me be that.
Right. Although, subtle foreshadowing. He wasn't really there for her when she needed it.
Yeah,
It was a little too late to the game, but
he was out on a
no
boat.
fault of his own. But it was very sweet, like that. It just shows like they went back. You know, she obviously wasn't going to go back to her house and live by herself, so she brings all her stuff with her back to his house, and they're just like in bed talking through everything, and she's clearly explaining like in more detail about the relationship and the toxicity and the violence and all this stuff, and he's just like so loving and understanding and patiently listening to every word, and as hard as it is for her to explain, like through tears, just like the difficulty, and it's just so sweet. I mean, supportive, loving. I don't know. It was just like, I was telling Nicole last night that one of my favorite things about this movie, like when I watched it for the first time, was that their moment of conflict was fleeting, because he did have that quick turnaround, and I'm like, and that's how it should be. I'm not saying that's how it always is, but if you actually love this person like you're claiming you do, listen to them and then do something about it.
Right.
Like, he was like, yeah, no, like, I am going to be there to protect you. Like, there's no safer place in the world for you than to be with me. I mean, it's not even like it was just something to say. Like, you could tell the way he was saying it was like, I'm going to go in between you and whatever's coming your way.
Right.
Like,
totally.
that to me is like what you want in a partner for your life.
Yeah,
but the next scene I have is just that 4th of July day, which I'm like, can I go to the 4th of July celebration in that town? Like, that looked like the best day ever.
I know.
Parade,
My favorite
picnic,
holiday.
dancing, food.
Hot
dogs, honestly.
It's required.
They ate hot dogs a lot in this movie, and I was like, I want a hot dog.
Yes.
Makes me want a hot dog real bad. And I'm not going to do the impression because I can't do it, but
I mean, who really can do it like her?
Not many people. But yeah, 4th of July.
4th of July.
And we do see, throughout the whole movie, we see her husband, like, trying his hardest to hunt her down and track her down. And by this point, he has located her, makes it to the town, comes in the little convenience store, and Lexi is the only one in there, which I'm like, where's an adult?
Yeah. I mean, it's not the first time she's been there alone, but
she handles herself.
Yeah.
And he is like so unwell, it's scary.
Yeah, very unwell.
Like,
mind you, he's also been essentially fired from his job at this point because, or put on administrative leave without pay because
took his gun and badge.
Yeah, because his boss has seen him doing all of this stuff, and he
saw the fake flyer. Like,
yeah,
what
he's
is this?
doing all of this is all illegal essentially for him to be doing it and doing it in this way. Like, there's a proper channel to do all this stuff, and he's not doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's very unwell.
Very. And he just like shows up to this big crowd of people at this 4th of July thing, and he's like turning people around that have the same haircut and it's not them, and just getting in people's faces and throwing stuff, and he's got his water bottle filled with straight vodka and all day searching for her until he finally spots her dancing with Alex and everybody, and he essentially waits till they go back home, and he follows them, and Alex and whatever the police friend's name is, they're in charge of this fireworks thing. And so they leave on the boat to go do the fireworks. And she stays with Lexi because she's not feeling well. And she has this like dream. I don't know if she had fallen asleep or something, but she has this dream that Joe is telling her he's here. And she's like, who? And she's like, you know who.
Yeah.
So she kind of like gets jolted out of this little nap she's in and immediately like takes Lexi upstairs and is like, don't move from here. She goes down and boom, he's in the house. They start arguing. She tells him to leave and he leaves.
Yeah.
Except for he
Briefly.
doesn't. He doesn't actually leave. He ends up setting the entire house on fire.
Yeah.
Or not the house, the shop.
The shop.
And their cute little, like, the mom's special place.
Yeah.
And Lexi was up there, and by the time Alex had seen and got to her, got Lexi down, Katie is literally, like, in a rough and tumble on the ground.
Fighting for her
life. He's got a gun. Again, he's drunk out of his mind. He's bigger than her. And he's on top of her, essentially. And Alex sees this from afar and is just like, you can just hear the pain in his voice. Like,
yeah, he literally saw him
it's like
punch her in the face. Like,
yes.
How horrible.
And it's like, that had to be going through his mind of like, I told her I was going to keep her safe. Again, it's not his fault.
No.
He didn't predict it.
And he had to, there was two things going on. He had to get his daughter.
Right.
And
yeah, the daughter is number one.
Yeah.
Like, literally, she was going to die.
Yeah.
But then the gun goes off. And we see that she shot and killed her husband. And they hug it out. They're like, are you okay? So sorry. She's worried about Lexi. She runs to Lexi first.
I thought that was so precious.
Yeah. Yep. And then it really just kind of like wraps up in that final scene of like, at some point in the future, you know, they're still together. And Alex gives her this letter from his wife. Like, his wife had written a series of all these letters for different moments in the future, like for her kids, like on their wedding day or graduation or birthdays or whatever. And one of them was addressed to her, the man that, or
the man,
the woman that her husband chose to like love again. And so he gives that to her. And I just thought that was so sweet.
That was very sweet. It was funny to see her wheels turning and her realizing, because then she like sees the photo of her.
Yep.
And she's like, I've been hallucinating this whole time.
Yeah. That's so funny. They just kind of brush over that. Like, ooh.
Yeah.
How'd that happen? But it was just sweet how like he let her read that on her own, and he just like goes out onto the dock.
Yeah.
And then she reads it and goes over there, and they're just together, and they're never breaking up ever
after. No, they're not ever
till death
breaking
do
up.
them part.
Yeah. For sure. What do we got next?
Oof. Okay, we are going to jump into Dear John.
Dear John.
Dear John.
I had never seen Dear John.
I accidentally spoiled a part for her.
Surprise.
Sorry.
Yes,
okay,
she did.
Let's just jump into the summary.
Go.
Dear John tells the story of a soldier, John, who falls in love with Savannah during a brief leave, and they promise to stay connected through letters while he's deployed. As time and war keep them apart, their love is tested by distance, tragedy, and unexpected choices. When John returns home, he faces the heartbreak and reality of how life has changed in ways he never expected. So we got John. He's a Green Beret in the Army, and he's home on leave when they first meet.
Yeah.
And then we have Savannah. Sweet girl Savannah. Just kind of no more description needed for her.
Yeah.
Their meet cute was very cute, I thought.
Yeah.
Unorthodox.
Sure. Yeah.
Her and her friends Randy being one of them. George/Jason Street. They're hanging out on this pier, and she somehow drops her purse or bag in the ocean. And her guy friend Randy is like, I'll get it. And he runs all the way down the pier to get to the beach and then go get in the water. And John's like, I'm just going to jump in and get it.
I'm not a soy boy.
Because also,
I'm not a
like,
soy boy.
this is deep water. Like, you're going to have to dive for he dove deep for this bag. He gets the purse, she runs, and they kind of have this meet cute of like, hey, thank you so much for getting it. And, oh, yeah, no problem. And you can kind of see John is not cold, but just kind of, what's the word? I got to readjust.
I think cold is fine. Or like
Reserved.
closed off.
Reserved.
Yeah.
Just, he's not overly excited to be there or around her friends or whatever, because she had asked him if he wanted to come by and like eat food wherever they were staying, and he was like, nah, I'm good. And then what'd she say, like, oh, at least let me give you a beer for the walk home. And he was like, okay, fine, where is it? So yeah, he kind of meets like some of her friends, as well as Tim, the guy that has a little boy who's autistic, and the mom had left at some point in the life, and so he's just a single dad now, and Savannah's involved in their life at some level. But really, John and Savannah just start talking and getting to know each other at this bonfire night, and they just make a very quick connection.
Yeah, definitely. He like asks her out that night, and she agrees to go to dinner with him the following evening.
And they do.
Yeah, they
do.
do.
A little dive bar spot, a local place.
Yeah. I forget what it was exactly they were talking about, but they're just like their families, I think, in general. And she was like, I want to meet your dad.
Like right now.
And she literally was like, I mean, right now. Tonight.
That's weird.
I thought that was so bizarre.
I'm not doing that.
No. I'm
not saying I wouldn't ask about their family. Like, oh, I'd love to meet them sometime. Like, but also like maybe not even that. This is the first date.
Right.
Also, they're supposed to be like 19 or 20 at this point.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because she's like in college on spring break.
Right.
But anyway, he agrees. He takes her to his house
very begrudgingly. You can tell he wants to like appease her because he really likes her. Yeah. But he's also like, I know my dad. This is not going to be what she thinks it's going to be.
Yeah, he's like, he's a little ashamed, honestly.
Definitely.
Like when they get inside and she starts to like meet him, and he's got this fascination with coins. He has a whole huge collection, and she started asking him questions about the coins, and of course his dad is like very, not, I wouldn't say excited, but he's very willing to share all his knowledge of coins.
He knows a lot of facts.
Yeah, he's
the entire process of specific coins and stories behind it.
And meanwhile John's like, okay, like we don't have all night, like we gotta go or whatever.
Like she doesn't want to hear about that. Right.
Yeah. I just have that they share, or she kissed him on the cheek, and that was very sweet.
I thought that was sweet.
Like it's like shows interest, but it's not like a like work. I mean, I just met you yesterday kind of thing. So like, yeah,
she definitely has this like innocence about her.
Totally.
And the next day we see them like get together, and she was like, oh, I want to show you something, like, because she had been working at this construction site, and he's like, you've been sneaking off on your spring break to like do physical labor or manual labor. And she's just like, haha. And she was helping remodel this home that had been destroyed by one of the hurricanes, and so she was just showing him around. And he even said at one point, like, I'm starting to think like you're starting to scare me. And she's like, scare you? Why? or make me nervous or something like that. And he's like, I'm starting to think you're way too good of a person to be with someone like me.
Yeah.
Which I've heard that before. And that's just like eye roll, because it's like,
what a lame like
okay, sorry, I don't know
what to. Yeah.
And also I'm like, no, like she's not that good. I mean, it's just, I don't know, I just think that's a crummy way to.
It's a cop out.
It's like the boy version of a pick me. Like, oh, I'm sorry, you're just so horrible of a human that like I'm perfect, I'm too good, like,
yeah,
sorry,
no.
Anyways, it starts to rain at one point, and they're really just going back and forth and having like tons of good conversation, getting to know each other, like what her plans are, what his plans are.
She's like super inquisitive in general.
Very.
Like she wants to know everything, like every little detail about everyone.
Yep.
And everything. Hence why she was like excited about asking about the coins.
Right. But then they share their first kiss.
They do. Very passionate.
Very passionate.
Very.
Like, it turned into a very good situation.
Yeah, that was a very good kiss.
It was. And you could just tell, like, Channing Tatum's strength. Like, he picks her up.
Yeah.
And in a squat position, like, has to then, while he's holding her, he sits down. He only has the
like
one
the little
pole.
beam.
Yeah, like
the
the one beam. And I'm like, that took some strength to not drop her or, like.
Yeah, she probably weighs 100 pounds soaking wet, but still.
Still.
Definitely.
And at some point after the kiss, she was like, you don't scare me, John. And he was like, you scare me.
Yes.
And then we see their montage.
The classic montage.
They had the best 2 weeks together. And they really fell in love in those short 2 weeks. They were able to spend all the time
every
together.
Waking moment together.
Just like being very playful, like him chasing her around the house or stealing a kiss in the hallway or like tickling each other. Like, you know, just they're young and playful and in love. And right after the montage, though, we see her sitting like on the sand in the dunes away from everybody. And so he goes up behind her and they're just talking, and she brings up the fact that she wonders if his dad might have autism. And that just does not go over well with him.
Yeah,
he takes
super
personal
offended.
offense to that.
Yeah, he's super offended by that.
He was even like, I know my dad. You don't think I know my dad's weird or off or something? And it's like...
Or like, you think I need you to tell me that? And it's like, okay...
That wasn't
she
her
wasn't
point.
like telling you anything. It wasn't like breaking news. Your dad's autistic. It just was like she was just like talking about how she wants to work with special needs kids or people and
open a horse farm to do like therapy.
Yeah, and she did bring up his dad, but not in a way that's like, you know, he's autistic, right? Like
she wasn't doing it in a way to be offensive whatsoever.
Yeah, or like
but because he was already filled with so much shame around his dad, it was definitely triggering. And it was a little bit like maybe not her place or the right timing to even say it. Again, you've only known each other 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're not a licensed therapist or medical doctor to diagnose. But it's like, I think because she's so inquisitive and that's her personality, it's like, it just kind of made sense for her to bring it up, because I think she also was like, clearly your dad could use some help. Like, yes, he's different, but he also, like, he could probably benefit from, like, addressing it, actually.
Yeah. And, like, having tools to, like...
Definite tools to just cope and live life, a better quality of life. Anyway, so they get in a fight. And that fight turns into an even bigger fight with some of the friends. And he ends up getting angry. And his old self kind of comes out. And he ends up, like, punching. Because the freaking friend, Randy, is being so annoying and in his face. It's like, Randy, butt out. And also, guess what? Savannah doesn't like you. Get over it.
Right. And also, he asked you, like, to stop and to not touch him. And you insisted
Why would
on
you
poking
ever
the bear.
do that
It's
to
like
a freaking someone in the special forces. Like, I'm sorry.
Right. So he ends up punching 3
And
people.
Randy's a dweeb.
Totally.
Okay.
Totally. Yeah, he punches Randy, the other friend, and then Tim.
Tim was just in the way.
Well, first of all, Tim came behind him and grabbed his shoulder. So it's like, again, why would you do that?
Yeah.
So
And
anyway.
Tim, skinny as a rail, ugly. I'm sorry. But this one night he had given John a ride home. And when he dropped him off, he was like, hey, by the way, if you ever hurt Savannah, I'll have to
Hurt something
on you, like break your bones
arm.
or something like that. And like he clearly knew that like what he was saying was kind of
lame,
or like, this sounds crazy me saying it to you. You could snap me in half, but I'm gonna say it anyway because like, don't hurt her.
Yeah.
And he was nice. Like Tim was just like Mr. Nice Guy. Mm-hmm. That's just the extent of what we really get from Tim. But John shows back up to the house and where Tim's at, and he just basically is looking for Savannah and tells her like, hey, I'll tell you that you stopped by. He left her a note. John left her a note, and he just goes back home. And then she does show back up before she heads back to school at the end of those 2 weeks that they spent together. And they just rekindle their love, and they both say they're sorry. And I don't know if I had anything specific, but yeah, they just decide like this is going to be hard, but to be apart for another year. But he is ensuring her that like, listen, I got 12 months and then I'm done and I'll be home for good.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll probably be out before you're done with college.
Yeah.
And so we then start to see the letter writing montage.
Yeah.
Of just about daily they're writing each other. And it's very sweet. And like there were even moments like she went back and like visited his dad, and
yeah, I thought that was cute.
So cute. I mean, that's just something where I'm like, that just shows that you actually love someone when you're willing to go somewhere they're not.
Yeah.
Like she's not only willing to go to the house when John's home.
Right.
She actually cares about his dad and whatever.
Yeah, I thought that was very sweet.
Very sweet. But then what happens? 9/11.
Yeah. It's so crazy to watch that unfold like in a movie like that. It was kind of weird.
Wild.
But yeah, 9/11 happens. The only thing I have after that is when he comes home.
Yeah, they get like basically his crew gets like 2 days
off, a weekend,
and most of his boys are going to Paris because it's nearby wherever they're currently at, and he decides he's going to Charleston. And even his buddy is like, bro, you're gonna go there and by the time you land have 18 hours on the ground before you have to leave. And he's like, 18 more hours than I had this morning or yesterday. And so he does, and I'm like, even that, I'm like, ladies, the whole, if he wanted to, he would. Now, I'm not saying that should be the expectation because that's insane.
That's crazy.
That's insane. But it is telling. It is very telling.
Yeah.
So yeah, they end up going to some party that her parents were having.
Her parents' house.
And
they're kind of like all talking about 9/11 and basically their opinions on what's going to happen with the troops and where they're going to end up and all that.
That was so wild too. It was just like, I could even remember conversations like that happening around me. Not that I understood a ton of it because I'm like, 11. But old enough to remember. And you can just see the wheels turning in John's head. Like, he knows. Like, because the dad made a comment, or the dad's friend or somebody, like, before you know it, it's going to go from asking guys to stay on to telling them. And he was like, no disrespect, but like, none of us are having to be told.
Right.
Like,
we're gonna do
volunteering.
it. Yeah.
Obviously, he hadn't yet told that to Savannah, so that's another reason I think maybe why he came, just to like break that news to her.
Yeah,
in person.
Could be. Yeah, because they kind of like right after that go outside and talk about it, because she's like can't really believe that he's considering
him
it.
say that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that response to her dad.
And she just like can't believe that he's even considering it, because obviously he told her like,
right,
I just have a year and then I'm coming back for good, like I'm done.
Yeah.
And obviously as a soldier or someone in the armed forces, like it takes a special person to be able to do that in a certain mindset.
Yeah.
And obviously not everybody has that or could do it. We say all the time, like, we could never.
Never.
So obviously he's kind of between like a rock and a hard place.
Definitely.
With enlisting again.
Right.
Which obviously sucks for her. And it's not that he wants to do it either, but it's like he just has the duty.
Like, I feel like on some level she feels like you have a choice and you're not choosing me.
Right.
Instead, it's like, this isn't even about you. Like, that's not even how he's viewing it. The choice is not her. It's, do I want to support my brothers and go help and serve my country to protect it, or do I want to sit back and do nothing?
Right.
Because that would also bother him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not even about like, do I want to be here with Savannah or not? Because obviously he would want to be with Savannah. Like, that's not
up
for debate.
Yeah.
One thing I will say that I loved about her parents is that, you know, a lot of these Nicholas Sparks movies we've watched, they've had this like poor family, rich family dynamic. And the rich families have been kind of snotty and rude. And it's like, not her parents. They were so welcoming, clearly wealthy.
Yeah.
Clearly ran a very elitist inner circle, community. But the dad's like, hey, we appreciate it. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Like, very like, good, glad you're here. Nice to meet you. The mom was sweeter than pie. Like, just not an issue whatsoever that he lives in a small house.
Right.
Not, you know, I don't know. It just, I like that wasn't the story that we got from her parents.
Yeah, me too.
But, yeah, they go outside and they kind of start arguing a little bit about it at this bench. And I don't know. You know, he kept saying, like, you don't understand. And she's like, don't tell me, like, I don't understand. And I just didn't know if that was a fair argument either.
Yeah.
Like, I get what she means.
Right.
But I also get what he means.
Yeah. It's like,
because
she's on one
understand.
side of it and he's on the other. And it's like, neither of you understand each other's side and neither of you ever will. And that's okay.
And the part that really got me is like when she's kind of backfiring and throwing her own little pity party about it, he's emotional.
Yeah.
About everything. And he's just like, what do you want me to do? Like, what is it that you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, and he's crying. He's breaking down. Like, this is real. At this point, he has seen some things. Like, his letters start off, you know, that year, like, he's in Africa. And then it, like, quickly transitioned. He's like, now I'm in a place where I, like, wish I was back in Africa.
Yeah.
And he's seen some things. And he just knows that he has a job to do and, like, this personal commitment that he's made. And, you know, then she hugs him and they're crying together and they're just telling each other they love each other. And then she takes him to the barn for some sexy time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she
outdoors.
Does.
I was like, where are they? They're just like outside.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Probably in a pile of hay.
Ew.
Probably. I just have next that he deploys.
Tearful goodbye at the airport.
Yeah, very sad.
And it's sad too just to see like the dynamic with his dad. You know, the dad is just, he cannot show affection. Therefore, John also doesn't know how to show affection to his dad because that's just not the relationship they've had.
Yeah.
The dad's like not a hugger.
Yeah, he shakes his hand, and I made a comment about that.
Yeah.
I was like, gosh, a handshake, and I was like, oh, I guess his dad's probably not a hugger.
Yeah. He can't even, like, verbalize anything either.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's sad, but you know what? Like, the dad showed up.
Yeah.
Because wasn't that the time when he's like, they invited their dad to go? Or was that time?
I think so.
And he tried to go.
Oh,
and
yes.
I don't know if that was the time or not. I think it was because,
Yeah, it was.
you know, the dad like freaks out and John's like perturbed. Like he's not mad, but he's just like frustrated that like this is the situation. Like my dad can't even get in the car and go to this thing for me to meet her parents, and he like has to go home.
Right. And of course she's like so understanding, like
Totally.
it's no thing.
Yeah, he can come next year. That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's kind of how they ended, like on this conflict. And then when we see him at the airport, they walk in and the dad's standing there waiting. It's like even though he can't show affection physically or even verbally, he's showing up for his son.
Yeah.
And he raised his son like to be a fine young man who's serving his country. So he's obviously capable of doing something right.
Yes.
I just thought that was sweet that they were there. And then we start to see the other montage of letters. And
they just
till we have no letters.
Yeah, they just slowly stop coming in, which is sad to see.
From her, yeah.
It's sad to see because he's obviously, every time they get a mail drop, like, of course, before he was like, I already know I have at least one letter in there. Mm-hmm. And now it's like was lucky to get one to begin with, and now it's just like trickled down to none, which is sad.
It's so sad. And then he gets one.
Yeah.
And
it was like a couple months.
Yeah, I think they did say 2 months.
And I was roasting her too. I was like, how can she like not even have the decency to send him a letter, like letting him know she's moved on? And then he gets the letter.
But the sad part is, it's like, not only is this a letter to be like, I no longer want to be with you because life without you is just meaningless. Mm-hmm. It's also to be like, and I'm also engaged and getting married to someone else. And she doesn't say who. She just says that. Like, how freaking heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, not only do I not want you, but I also want to be with someone else.
Yeah.
In the same breath.
Right. Which is like crazy when she's like, my life without you is meaningless. But I don't know.
That's what we said, like, in that moment watching it. I'm like, how does that logic work in your mind? Because if life without you is meaningless, and he's still alive and will be coming home someday soon, you saying like, it's too hard to do without you, therefore I'm gonna stop writing letters and I'm gonna get married to someone else. Like, what we heard was life being without a man or without that real connection is meaningless, therefore I'm gonna be with someone else who is willing to be with me.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with
here.
You specifically. It's
that's kind of how I think he probably felt.
That's how I felt. So
right.
I mean, I could imagine.
It was just heartbreaking. Like, he just immediately gathers all his letters. He's got his box and he's like fumbling with it and drops them into this puddle. And it's just like, it's just this, watching it, you just feel so heartbroken for him. And then he burns all of the letters and you're just watching it like, don't do that. I mean, when there is a time when things need to be burned.
Yeah.
But I wish he wouldn't have burned those.
Yeah, I agree. He could have waited a little longer.
Just
bring him home when you go home.
A little bit longer.
Give him that much time.
Yeah.
But then we see him get shot.
Yeah.
He gets shot. His friend gets shot, which I don't really want to go into that whole thing because we were talking about how careless that whole situation was. As if we really know anything. But anyway.
His friend got shot in the vest.
Yeah.
Shots are still being fired. He's just casually like, bro, you're lucky.
Yeah.
And then bing, 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 bing. He gets shot multiple times.
Yeah. So anyway, he has to obviously nurse his injuries. And I don't know when he gets a phone call, but anyway, he has
Some
to
point
go
in that
home
time,
to
yeah.
Charleston because his dad is sick and dying.
Yeah.
So he goes home, and ultimately his dad passes.
He writes his dad a letter though, and I think it's not about the romance, but since we've already mentioned his dad, the emotional scene of him visiting his dad in the hospital before the dad dies, reading the letter to him,
Yeah.
and he can't even get the words all the way out.
Yeah.
And the dad just like grabs the side of his face and he just breaks down. And it was the sweetest, most beautiful, heartbreaking
I know, that was heartbreaking.
moment. And you're also thinking like, oh, this is an adult man losing his adult father. So sad, but it happens. And you're like, wait a second. No, he's probably like 21, 22.
Right, right.
Like, this is so sad. Not to mention his mom is MIA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he now has nobody.
Yeah.
It's
it
just
very sad.
so sad. Gosh.
Yeah.
But he also takes the time to go see Savannah while he's home.
Yeah.
And he finds out who she's married to.
Good old Tim.
Tim.
Weird. So weird.
The whole situation, honestly, is weird. And I think this was the first time watching it back that I made the connection of like why she got married to him. And I just don't understand.
Me neither. It makes it's like even worse. Like
Totally.
the letter she sent to him about being engaged, obviously she didn't mention it was Tim. But like how we felt about that, it gets even worse when we figure out why she did it.
Yeah.
It just like it actually just confirms what.
And also like why not elaborate in the letter?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It just seemed like Tim finds out has cancer.
Stage 4.
Stage 4 eventually. He wants to marry her. I mean, obviously they were married for a couple years, so it's like he had cancer, they were married, and then he progressively gets worse.
Yeah.
But they made it seem like they just got married because he wanted to make sure Savannah could raise his son.
Right.
And I'm like, still could have done that without the marriage.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Especially because how involved she was already.
Right.
With
she could have even helped be your caregiver.
Exactly.
Like, I don't understand.
Me neither.
And we
So
never even saw them have like a connection.
Right.
Like,
and
it was just...
And he admits that they didn't have a connection.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because, it's revealed that it's Tim, and because he called Savannah, and John's over at the house, and Savannah's like, he wants to see you. Mm-hmm. So they go to the hospital, and he has this like talk with John, and basically says that.
Yeah,
she's still in love with you. Right. She lights up anytime like.
Yeah, basically like
around.
She was never in love with me. Like she's always loved you, and it's like.
And we're just like,
what?
I'm sorry. Why would you be okay with your wife actively being in love with a man who is still alive and well and around? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be satisfied with that.
And I'm just going to get to it, but she ultimately admits the same thing.
And you know what? I was worried for a second that they were going to have a moment, like a little, I mean, they kind of had a moment, but like, I thought they were going to have like a little intimate moment together when he's still like dying, like before the guy dies. And I was going to be like, okay, as much as I like hate that, but like that would not be cool.
Yeah.
Like don't pull a Noah and Allie here.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, she ultimately admits the same freaking thing
and she's so annoying. Oh my gosh. In that moment when he's about to leave and she's like, they're hugging it out. Like they've shared some like good conversation. They basically confess that she's still in love with him and yada yada. But she's married. Mm-hmm. Okay. And he does have to go back.
Yeah.
She was like, see you soon then. And he like didn't say anything. She's like, say it back. That's what you're supposed to do. I'm supposed to say it and you're supposed to say it back. And he just says, goodbye, Savannah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not playing this game. This is
Right.
not, you are toying with my heart at this point, and that's
Yeah.
not okay.
Yeah, because he like confronts her, and because they were having dinner or whatever
Right.
at her house, and he was like so upset, like, why didn't you just call me to tell me all of this stuff, like,
Right.
instead of writing this letter or whatever. And what she said in response was like, your voice alone would have made me change my mind. And it's like, hello,
Then wasn't
you
that the
shouldn't
indicator?
be getting married then, you dope.
If
Like,
there was any scenario in which you would want to change your mind, that's a glaring red flag to be like, stop what you're doing and actually consider your feelings and your choices. Like, I don't, it was so frustrating, and maybe it's just her lack of maturity, or like, I don't know if people want to be like her willingness to like help Tim and love Tim. And
No,
it's just
that's
like,
bullcrap.
she don't love Tim.
no, exactly.
It was just so
It's so
annoying. Okay, so then the
stupid.
worst part of this all, this is why
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this movie as much as I loved the book. Loved the book. We get to the end. Tim's dead.
He gone.
Okay, they spot each other outside of this cafe. They go. They hug. Credits roll.
Credits roll.
After all that, we get a freaking hug.
So dumb.
We don't even know
So
if they're
dumb.
together. We don't know anything.
No, all we know is he gave the money.
Yeah.
From
You
the
wasted
coin.
your freaking money to a man that was gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's
he
a really bad
sold
take.
the
But,
dad's coin collection.
and I was like, I hope
and
he
gave the
kept
money.
some. That money was for you. Your autistic father worked his freaking butt off
Yeah,
organizing
finding those.
these coins, keep them in mint condition to leave you money, and you're giving it, most of it, away. I think it's very honorable to help pay for somebody's at-home hospice care.
Yeah.
Very honorable. But this is fiction, and I think it's annoying.
It is.
Anyways, I don't love that movie. There are parts that are very sweet and cute, and
Yeah.
they had 10 out of 10 chemistry.
Oh, yeah. Chemistry
Like,
was.
no
Yeah,
problems
no
there. Channing Tatum
problems, no
clearly
notes.
knows
Yeah, he's fine.
his way around.
Oh, my.
The last one we're going to talk about is A Walk to Remember, which is
One of
honestly
her favorites
probably
of all
one of my
time.
all times. Yeah, I think just because it has been for so many years that it just has a special place. Is it the best movie I've ever seen? No, but it's just
It's a good one.
it's just like a
I
very
feel like
heartwarming.
I'm pretty sure you made me watch this movie when we were in high school.
Probably.
Because,
Yeah.
of course, I had never seen it.
Of
It wasn't
course.
one of my 6 that I watched over
Yeah.
and over again.
Yeah, I remember I saw this in the movie theater with my mom and my aunt.
What year was this?
I think it was 2002. For some reason, I always thought it was 99, but I want to say it was like 2001 or 2. Sorry, look at this freaking page. It's so annoying. Guys,
The struggle is
Nicole
real.
sits in one spot and you don't move.
I have moved like 3 times.
Okay, I just feel like I'm like, people are probably like, can you just chill?
Just sit in one spot,
gosh.
for goodness sake.
Okay, also, like, I can't even sit like this. This knee is not, it can't do that right now. I don't know what is going on with me.
You need me to diagnose it for you.
Yeah, literally. We need to YouTube it and tape her up or something.
I got you.
Okay,
Give us a summary.
got the sum. A Walk to Remember follows Landon, a rebellious high school student who falls for Jamie, a kind-hearted girl with a deep faith, after being forced to spend time with her as punishment. Their unexpected romance transforms Landon's outlook on life, but their love is challenged when Jamie reveals she has a terminal illness. Despite the heartbreak, Landon's love for Jamie helps him grow into a better person, proving that true love can change lives forever.
Yep.
I will say it wasn't like he was forced to be with her as a punishment. He was just
No.
forced to do all these things that she just happened to be involved in
Right.
already.
Right.
Which in turn led to them spending time together.
Yeah.
But yeah, Landon Carter,
Landon's
bad boy,
the bad boy. She's the goody two shoes.
troublemaker, running from the cops,
Yeah.
listening to hard rock,
Making people jump off of
whatever that
scaffolding
is.
of sorts. Who knows? Anyway, he's the bad
That
boy.
was so
She's the
stupid.
goody two shoes. That really was dumb. And they don't really have a meet cute because they go to the same school. They've known each other since kindergarten.
Yeah.
So there's no meet cute. Really.
Right. I would say like what like their first meet cute as in like getting to know each other is like probably at the tutoring thing.
Yeah.
Or I don't. There were several moments.
I mean, the
but
bus
like
ride.
the bus ride when he's pretending to be like, I know exactly who you are. You're Jamie Sullivan. You do this and that. You sit at lunch table 7.
You have exactly one sweater.
Right. Which yeah, girl. Why? Why?
It's a cute sweater. I actually like it.
Yeah, but at that time period, it wasn't cute. You wouldn't have worn that in 2001.
No.
Therefore, nerd.
Whatever.
I'm just saying, she's very homely looking.
Yeah.
Like, they painted this church girl out to be like a Mennonite, essentially.
I was just going to say that.
Like, I wasn't going to go full Amish, but
Yeah.
Mennonite. And like her dad is very straight-laced pastor, reverend.
A rev.
And basically, she doesn't do anything wrong. She's just very good.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. She's just a very conscientious person, and Landon doesn't really know that much about her actually when he has assumed she's just like boring and blah.
Right.
But really, she's not. And so they just kind of start spending some time together, and
yeah, he gets in
all
trouble.
at school functions. Yeah.
He gets in trouble because I don't know. I don't think it was for the jumping situation. It was for something else. They found beer bottles. Like they accused him
he
of
crashed his car and running from the cops, and I think at that site or in his car.
Well, they accused him of drinking on school grounds, and they had the bottles. So I think that's why he had those punishments that he had to do all these school activities that he probably wouldn't have chosen to do on his own.
We do see the conversation with his mom being like, clearly, like his dad, they're divorced. He's moved on, not really involved in Landon's life. And so Landon is very bitter. And the mom even says like, you need to call your dad. Like, it's not like the mom's like bad mouthing the dad. It's just like, no, you need a father because like he's getting in trouble and you need this male figure in your life to be like,
yeah,
cut it out.
What a concept.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, they kind of just start spending time together, all these school functions that he has to be at.
The school play, the tutoring.
He
has to be on janitor duty
during her stars and whatever that club is called.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they kind of like low-key start practicing for the play. And he's just like straight up embarrassed to be even like doing all these things, but especially to be seen with Jamie.
Yeah. Because his group of friends is constantly just like making fun of her. Like,
oh yeah, it's like horrible.
What she wears, how she acts, just
also
everything.
They're just like that quintessential popular crowd. They're just like the bad kids. Like they're just up to no good.
Yeah.
And this girl Belinda in the friend group is clearly in love with Landon. Maybe they had been together at one point and they're not currently, but she's still like in love with him, whatever. And so they start practicing for the play, and this is when like she goes up to him and at school and was like, see you after school, and he's like, in your dreams.
I don't think that was then yet, but I just had that she gave him the ride home and shares with him like some of her bucket list items in the car. List. And yeah, that's when, or he tells her like, I need help with my lines, and she agrees, but like reluctantly, and tells him, I'll help you with your lines, but like you have to promise you won't fall in love with me. And he's like, oh yeah, that's not gonna be a problem.
Right.
Laugh out loud.
And that's when
That's
she goes
when,
up to him that next day and is like,
yeah,
see you after school, and he's like, in your
in your
dreams.
dreams, because he's with all his stupid friends.
And then the other guy's like, I like your sweater. A good one. Like, I'm just like, really? That's the best you have?
Yeah. Lame.
So Jamie's like,
yeah.
cool.
Right.
Okay. He shows up at her house after school. She's not having it at all. And he's like, please, like, it's not that easy.
I can't just be your friend.
Oh, wait, maybe that's not that time. Because, okay, we see he does go to her house for the actual running lines. And that's when she gets the 3rd degree from the pastor dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then that night he sees her in the cemetery. This is all before Secret Friends conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He sees her in the cemetery and he's like, do you always hang out in the cemetery at night? And she's like, maybe.
Do you?
Like, you're here, aren't you? And he finds out that she actually is really into like stars and planets, and she literally is using a telescope that she made when she was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And they just talk about her faith. They talk about suffering, and she just has some good like one-liners things like, you know, we wouldn't have compassion or if there wasn't without suffering
no
and
compassion.
Yeah, and he was like, tell that to those who suffer. Some good quippy, you know, like that'll preach type lines. And so like they actually are low-key friends at this point because they've had all the practice. They're seeing each other outside of school a couple times, and he's genuinely like getting to know her and like not thinking she's a total weirdo.
Yeah.
So that day in the hallway, she probably felt like it's safe to be like, well, I can at least like, just say like in passing, like, oh, see you after school.
Mm-hmm.
And to still be rejected, like you can't even say like it wasn't like she was being a weirdo.
Right.
Like, you know, I think about like She's the Man, and you have Eunice, the nerd girl, who's like, I'm gonna be the best lab partner you ever had. It's like, okay, clearly she was like being weird.
Yeah.
She's literally not even doing anything.
Right.
And she still gets roasted.
Yeah.
So sorry to go all the way around that, but I'm like, yeah, okay, it's the conversation at the door when she's totally like feeding into his whole like, you don't want to talk to me? Like, oh, like you mean like we could be secret friends? And he's like, exactly like that. And she's like read my mind or something.
Yeah.
And just gives him a cold shoulder and an evil face. And he's like, it's just, I can't just be your friend. And then she like slams the door in his face, and he like yells out some sort of like expletive, and the dad like opens the door right away. And he leaves. And really they don't like really interact anymore. Like no more play practice, like running lines and hanging out until like the spring play.
Yeah, we see like a little bit of a montage of like the rehearsals, but we don't get to see like the actual interactions. But we do see a couple times where like he's kind of just like looking at her during the rehearsals, and you can kind of see like he might be interested.
Right. And he's generally like coming around at that point through that montage. It's like he's maybe actually enjoying tutoring and helping this kid out. He's you know, he's practicing for the play. He just generally has a better attitude that his mom is noticing. He goes to the hospital to visit that kid who jumped. Like he's just making some better life choices.
Yeah.
And I think he just like really credits Jamie for that, for like inspiring him to be a good person, because he has seen like all the things she's involved with and how she carries herself and just how kind she is. And
Right.
But yeah, he's definitely noticing her like, oh, like like she's nice. I think I like her.
Yeah. We see the actual play happen.
We do.
And he's like doing a great job until
Yeah, like, are you
she
like an actor?
wow. Until like she comes out and she like takes her little hooded thing off and
That hooded thing.
it's like okay. It just reminds me of like Pitch Perfect when they had those. I don't remember what group it was that had the hoods on, but anyway, she like takes that and I think it distracts him because she's in a dress that like she would never wear on a normal basis.
Oh
like it's
no.
it's
It's
not like
form
super low cut,
fitting.
but it's like a V-neck here. It's like a lower back, like
She's got her hair and
her
makeup done.
right. Like this is not how she normally would be. So he kind of gets distracted by that, and he
Taken
forgets
aback.
his lines, and
Yeah.
he's like has to improvise a little bit. I forget what the line is. He says something like, "But all I know is you're beautiful." And I don't think she really knew how to
No,
respond
she
because like
was
this is not an
also
improv
taken aback.
class. Like this is whatever. And then she just
She
starts
sings her
singing the
song. Yeah, because
song.
that was what his line was supposed to be, like prompting that song to start. Because the
Yeah,
teacher on the side's like,
the
the song. And he's
song.
like, the dream. Can you help me remember what that dream was?
Yeah,
And then she sings
sing
her
about
song.
it or whatever. So
Sing
she
to me,
sings the
Paolo.
classic song. I almost said that during the movie. I'm
Because
like, that was a
he
total
did
sing
say
to me,
something like,
Paolo.
sing to me.
Yes. So she sings the classic Only Hope song, and after it, he kisses her, which we also know was not in the script of this play.
And you know it had to be like her first kiss.
100%. So I think she was like really taken back by that.
Yeah. And so was Belinda. Because Belinda's
Belinda
in
was
the
shook.
audience. She's losing it. She's
She's
tearing
like
up.
heavy breathing. Like, girl, calm
she's
down.
she's unwell. But
Yeah.
yeah. You know, we just see the next day or so, like Landon tries to connect with her again by like talking to her at lunch and or in the library or something, and he's just like, I don't know, like maybe I miss spending time with you and you inspire me. And she's just kind of like, okay, yeah, right. Like,
Right.
heard that before. And so, but he's kind of like incessant about that.
Yeah.
So much so where she's like getting up and leaving, and he's continuing to walk after her, saying all these things. Like, you're scared. You're just scared of life. Like, I think you're scared because you actually want to be with me too.
Right. And he says, I don't want to just be your friend.
Yeah.
Like,
And
meaning
I
he
think
wants
she
to
said
be
something
more.
like I don't know. He was just like, you're hiding behind your books and you're scared of blah 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 and you want to be with me too. And they kind of get in this little argument, and she gets in her car and drives off, and it doesn't really get resolved
Yeah.
until he shows up at her house with a new
sweater.
a cute sweater. I would wear that sweater, the pink one.
Yeah. See, I like the green one better than the pink
Perfect.
one.
That makes sense.
That does make a lot of sense.
But I just thought it was so sweet that he showed up just like, almost as like a little peace offering, but also just like a thoughtful gift.
Yeah.
And a practical gift.
Yes.
The girl only has
one sweater.
And we know that it's something she'll like to wear. It's nothing like over the top. And she's smitten.
Yeah.
I think at this point, like, her dad comes out and has this talk with her, like, these boys only want one thing, you know, they have expectations, Jamie, and the rules aren't changing. And he's like, you know, you have to consider not what you want, but what God wants. Or this isn't just something I'm saying, or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is totally something my dad would say. But not in like a harsh way, like her dad. And she's just like, I think God wants me to be happy. And she's smiling because she's totally into him now. Right? So that's a different discussion for a different day about whether God wants us to be like happy or not. Which
We can't get into that right now.
In the regard that Jamie was referencing, I agree. I think God would be overjoyed to see Jamie experience happiness.
Sure.
On this level, but we're not getting into that theological debate.
We run into the conflict now.
Yeah, we do.
Of course, the mean girls Photoshop, and the Mean Boys Photoshop this photo of Jamie's face onto this body that's more than half naked. That's not hers, obviously. It's just a girl in like a skimpy like top bikini, strapless top, small bottoms, whatever, and it has like Virgin Mary question mark on the flyer, and these flyers have been printed and all around the school.
Is literally black and white. It's
it's obviously photoshopped. Anybody can see that.
This is clearly before social media, before sending nudes was a thing, before public shaming like it is now is a thing. Like this at that time was probably genuinely like a bigger deal than like, unfortunately, what we've been attuned or accustomed to hearing and seeing about. That goes now, but nonetheless.
So obviously she freaks out over this because like she's a very modest girl. Like she's not showing her body in any way. Like that's not
to mention like everybody is just like laughing at her. So forget whatever that is. Like, yes, the picture, like we said, it's not that bad or like horrible, but like the fact that everyone's pointing and laughing at you and like now you're just, that's just not fun regardless of whatever the reason is. Like, and she's just like, that to me was like the icing on the cake because she's really handled all that criticism well. Up until this point. Right. She knows they make fun of her. She hears all the comments. She's not stupid. That's one thing Jamie's not is stupid.
And they're not quiet about it anyway,
no. But. And so she's just like panicking and she goes to immediately turn around and bumps right into Landon, who like hugs her and is also shocked to see what everyone was looking at. And he's like, enough is enough.
Right.
Like this is we're done here.
Yeah.
And he just goes over to his friend, punches him.
Yep. Dean.
And Dean is like, we're through! We're through! Forever! You hear me, Landon? We're through! You think Landon cares, dramatic. Dean? No, he's already out there chasing Jamie down the stairs saying, baby, I'm sorry. And we're like, baby.
We literally both got the immediate ick over that, and we were laughing so hard that we suddenly have the ick about that. Yeah, like it's like normally would have been swooning over that. When we I still think
it's so sweet that he came to her defense and ran after her and is reassuring and like that just part the way he still said so sweet.
Baby, I'm sorry.
Baby.
Because he does it again
baby,
too.
I'm sorry.
And we're like, no.
Yeah, and they hug and she's tearful and he's giving her a ride home. She asks him to take her home. And he essentially asks her out on a date and she's like, I can't. And he's like, wait, why? And she's like, I'm not allowed to date. And he's just not satisfied with that answer.
Yeah.
Which I love. And he goes directly to the source, aka Reverend Dad. And basically calls him on his bluff. Like,
yeah, because he like immediately declines the request.
Right. And he just gives him the whole like, listen, you always teach about
faith
and giving people a second chance. Like, I'm just asking you to give me a second chance and your daughter, blah, blah, blah. He says yes. So they go on their date, which is the iconic date where
in her new sweater.
She's wearing her new sweater. They have a nice dinner. They have a nice little dance together. And then he takes her just around town, completing a few of her things off her bucket list.
I know, so
which is so sweet. The whole being in two places at once. He lets her pick a little temporary tattoo, which we were just also roasting. I'm like, where does he get the wet rag?
Yeah, and I was like, and he has the whole sheet on her shoulder.
He didn't cut these out.
Yeah.
Which...
he's a dude. Whatever. It worked.
It's fine. And then we have the most iconic scene, the one that had been ingrained in my brain forever and ever, where they're talking. She's talking about feeling love and how she knows it's the wind. It's like the wind. I can't
see it, but I can feel it.
And he is just literally enthralled by her every word.
Yeah.
And after she says whatever, he's just like, I might kiss you. And she's like, I might be bad at it. And he's like, that's not possible. And then they kiss. And it was just such a sweet first kiss.
Yeah. And not only that, he also says, I love you. And I was like, wow.
And then she says nothing for a while,
Yeah.
gets teary-eyed, and then tells him, like, I told you not to fall in love with me.
Mm-hmm.
And they kiss again, but she doesn't really elaborate on that. And then, like, we kind of see a little montage, but we just really see them, like, dating more.
Mm-hmm.
And we see them back at the cemetery with the telescope, and he's, prepared this cute little picnic, like, blankets and hot coffee. And
Mm-hmm.
we really thought it was sweet, though, when he, like used foresight to know that she's not going to want to, like, get cozy with me necessarily on this blanket, or she may not want to, so I better bring two.
Yeah.
And even though they did end up sitting on the same blanket together, but
Yeah, because she was like, are you trying to seduce me? And he was like, well, are you seducible? And she just shakes her head no. And he's like, well, that's why I brought 2 blankets.
Yep.
Which we thought was sweet. Like, he wasn't there to, like, try and push the boundaries.
Yeah.
And
even, like, that night it was, like, insinuated that they had stayed out, like, most of the night. And when he gets home the next morning, the mom's even like, Landon, like, you better be careful. This is the Reverend's daughter. And he's like, it's different. And, like, truly it is. Like, it's not, he's never pushed her to do more than she wants to do, or it's never been about physical. Like, he's just truly, like, captivated by her.
yeah.
And, like, it's motivating to him.
Right.
And we even start to see his friends be like, what the heck? This is, like, you're not the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I just think it's cute when he is talking to his mom, and, she had found the list of things that he wanted to do in his life. And he was just like, I don't know, Mom, like, Jamie, like, has faith in me, and she makes me want to be better. Like, and I just think that's just such a true sign, especially for young men that fall in love. Like, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but I've seen it happen. I mean, even my own brother-in-law, like, he was younger when he started dating my sister, and, like, he had to man up and do a bunch of things in life to grow up. And just other people I can think of in my life that, I'll never forget. We had this kid in youth group one time who had a girlfriend in high school, and all his friends roasted him all the time because he spent a lot of time with his girlfriend. And they graduated high school, fairly quickly got married, and it still roasting him. You're getting married, like, this is not going to end, blah, 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 blah. It's like, they're still married today. I'm friends with them on Facebook. Still married today. They have 2 little kids. Like, she's a teacher. Like, it's just so cool. Like, some people are just wired to make sacrifices for the people they love, like, at that early age.
Yeah.
Most people are not.
Yeah.
But for Landon, it was motivating. Like, I don't just want to, like, be married or have a girlfriend just to, like, say I do. But he was like, no, I want to be better for this person.
Yeah.
She makes me want to be better.
Right, right.
So I thought that was really sweet.
Yes.
But then we see the conflict part 2.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's when she tells him finally that she's sick. And he's like, okay, well, I'll just, like, take you home. And she's like, no, I'm sick. Like, I have leukemia, which is obviously upsetting to him and to her.
I thought it was sweet or cute, and he was just like, no. Like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, you're 18. You're perfect. Like,
yeah.
just, like, coming to terms with that is, like,
crazy.
yeah.
Yes.
It was so sad, though, because she's just like, I don't need another reason to be angry with God. And she's, like, very upset herself. Like, this is why I said not to fall in love with me. Like,
Yeah.
she essentially runs home, like, runs off. And he's so emotional, like, can't handle his emotions, and ends up driving this long distance to his dad's house. And it's just so sad to see him just, like we were saying, like, it's his own, like, ignorance, because he's a teenage kid, who doesn't know any better, but he's thinking like, I got to do something about this, and I know my dad's a doctor, so I'm going to just go ask him if, like, see what he can do for me.
Yeah.
Not thinking that, like, his dad's a cardiologist.
Right.
He's
like,
not
it's
an
not
oncologist.
that easy,
right?
like, to just jump in on someone's
right
case, if you will, like his
right.
dad says.
His dad's just like, I don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
And also, like, it's the middle of the night. His dad's caught off guard by the whole thing. It's also, like, new for Landon to just show up to his dad's house.
Right. They don't really have a great relationship. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's sweet the way he's like, he jumps into this mode of like, I need to do my part and help in any way I can. But it's also like, you have to be realistic and knowing that, like, your
Right.
dad's a cardiologist. Like,
Right.
he doesn't necessarily have the means to help Jamie with her leukemia.
Right. And I don't know. I think we just see Landon showing up at Jamie's house the next day because, again, they kind of left in an argument.
Yeah.
And he just is putting all these flowers by her front door and sees her dad outside and is like, tell Jamie I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. I loved that.
Ugh. Like, even at his age, just to be able to be like, this is very tough.
Yeah.
I don't know how to handle this. I don't even know what this means. I don't know what this is going to look like, but, like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. And he doesn't. He's with her in the hospital. He's there, like, a day in, day out, like
falling asleep, like in the chair, sitting upright, like just truly being there for her.
Yeah.
It's just sweet. You know, we do see like several scenes of him just being with her at the hospital, and then one day he shows up and she's being wheeled out of the room, and she's like, I get to go home. Make sure you tell your dad thank you. He's like, what's she talking about?
Yeah.
And then it is revealed that his dad is paying for her to have home health care. And, you know, he's just like moved by that.
Yeah.
Very appreciative. So we see him go back to the dads and just thank him. And they just have this emotional hug. And it's
that
just,
breakdown was...
Because also you're just like, you can see him like finally releasing all his emotions.
Yeah.
About it, because he's trying to be strong for her, and also he's a freaking kid.
Yes,
he's a kid, and he also has daddy issues, so it's like it's a twofer.
Yeah,
like he's carrying so much, but also this is like a breakthrough for him and his dad. And it was just
yeah. And Landon throughout some of this has been building this telescope for Jamie because she wants to see this specific comet that is going to be visible. And so when she's home, he has the telescope there, and the comet is, you know, passing over, and they get to see it together, which is really cute.
Yep.
And that night, he asks her, like, do you love me? And she obviously says yes. And he was like, will you do something for me then? And asks her to marry him. So she says yes. So and we do see them get married in the church that her parents got married in, which was the number one thing on her bucket list.
Yep.
So that was a very sweet and precious moment for them. But then we learned that they only had the summer together. But it was a perfect summer together, and then she sadly passes.
Yeah. Ugh. So sad. And I think too, like, in the moment when, you know, she had already told, I think it was maybe after the moment he showed up with all the flowers saying, like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. She then goes to his house and he's, like, working on his car. And, you know, he just says, like, I'm so sorry. Like, are you scared? And she's like, scared to death. Like, kind of, like, joking. And he's just like, it's not funny.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, you know, she's like, I'm scared of not being with you. And I'm just like, and that's when he says
baby
like,
again.
Baby, I'm not going anywhere.
Or he says, oh, baby, that'll never happen.
I don't know why it was so cringy. It's just like the way he said or something, which I'm telling you, like, I used to swoon over that.
Oh, yeah. It was
moment.
100%.
And again, it's not even the moment that's cringy. Like, I love that he said that to her.
Yes. It's just the use of the word baby is weird there
also,
for some reason.
I'm not like a baby
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody calls me anything because I don't have anybody in my life, but I don't think I would be that. But yes, I think the whole situation of how it ends is just bittersweet because Landon does ultimately get his life together.
Yeah.
And keeps a relationship with, Jamie's dad, and I think that's very sweet. But Nicholas Sparks knows how to write these stories, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of them are like inspired by his true life circumstances or if it's all just from the old noggin.
Who knows?
But that was part 2 of Nicholas Sparks. Yes. There was a few more movies that we just didn't get to because these episodes were going to be long enough as it was. But if you are desperate for more Nicholas Sparks, we could do another episode at a later time. But yeah, thanks for hanging in there. What was our icebreaker that we need feedback
icebreaker
from?
was what first date is portrayed as romantic, but in reality really isn't.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts on that. And do you agree with ours? Ice skating, canoeing, rowing.
Yeah.
It can be difficult for some people, which makes it definitely not something you'd want to do with a romantic partner.
For sure.
But anyways, guys, we love you all.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. As always, subscribe, follow, share, like, comment, whatever you can do to support us. We appreciate it. So,
Until next time.
bye.
Bye.